nuance that needs to be attended to. But when trusting God's design, we know that he created us male and female, and it was his good pleasure to do that. He was the creator.
So do you hear what Jeff's saying? And the really the baseline of what we're trying to help our children in their discipleship is, do you trust God and his way? What he says about him, what he says about us. That is the battle that even started back in Genesis in the fall. Do you trust me? Yeah. And when it comes down to even our gender identity and our sexual orientations, do we trust God with the way that he designed us? There is so much nuance in that, and there's a lot of experiences that shape. But one of the things I want to just kind of tease out is when we use the word gender, that means our sense of self as female and male. Mm-hmm. And now we live in a culture that has normalized gender fluidity, and that people can identify themselves anywhere along a spectrum. And for us, and from a biblical worldview, as well as actually from a healthy sexuality and a child development lens, we actually believe that you want to guide your child to reflect back to them who God made them to be. Yes. And they need to hear it over and over and over that we are male and we are female, and that is God's choice. Yeah. And we can trust him with that. So let me give a quick little story. When the girls were little, one of them used to, around that normal developmental age, about 2 to 3, 4 years old, kids are starting to go, I'm a girl. You're a boy. Daddy has different parts than me. And it's a very normal thing. They discover things in the bathtub, and they're going to preschool, and they're starting to figure out a little bit of this boy-girl thing. And some kids play with a variety of different toys. That's okay and normal. But one of our girls was actually questioning. She would every once in a while be like, I think I'm a boy. And instead of panicking, which is common for some of us parents in today's culture to go, something must be going on. As the leader and the thermometer in the home, I just calmly, just reflecting back over and over and over, being a boy is so cool, but God chose to make us girls. And that normalizing that her and I are girls, this is what girls look like, and then talking about our parts. These are the parts that God gave us girls, and there's some really exciting things about being a girl. We're just going to get to learn about that over the next many years. Oh, it's so fun to be a girl. And just continuing to reflect that back without diminishing being a male, talking bad about being a male. And so when you think about your children and the various genders that they've got in terms of, 3 boys in the house, there's a variation in those expression of those 3 boys, to normalize and to repeat over and over and over, reflecting back to them who you are is good. God designed you and chose you to be male, chose you to be female, and that is on purpose for the greater kingdom work that he has.
Yeah, and your voice is so important, both of you. And if you're in an intact home where there's a dad and mom, and you're living in that space together, no one can take the place of your voice, dad, and no one can take the place of your voice, mom, in that space. If you're single parenting right now, you know this. You're wearing both roles as best as you can, but really you've hopefully been connecting with others of the opposite gender that can speak into your kids in that space as well. Tell them about your story a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I share this pretty openly in my book, Courageous, Being Daughters Rooted in Grace, and talk about it in different places when I speak. But I actually grew up, and many might relate to this, but I grew up in an age where we called girls who were into guy things tomboys. Yeah. So I grew up with a dad who wanted boys. So I learned how to throw a mean spiral football and gut fish. And I would hang out with the boys at recess just because I felt more comfortable with them. And the girly things I didn't really identify, but part of that came out of the family of origin piece I had, but also came out of just being uncomfortable with the curves that I had. I hit a lot of the curves. My body developed early. Yeah. And so that is something that we have to be aware of as moms and dads, is that a lot of the dynamics of feeling out what it means to be male or female, whether it's a boy who's maybe not the athlete and fits the prototype of everybody else in the family or in the town you live in, they might feel like I'm different than all the other boys. I felt like I was different than all the other girls, meaning I just wasn't into some of the girly things. But that didn't mean that God didn't make me a girl. But I didn't have any other voices at that time. I'm a lot older than this generation. And so the spectrum for me was that I was just a strong girl. I could outbench a lot of the boys in our in high school. And so that framework of being comfortable with being feminine and being a woman didn't come well into my college years and into my time in marriage with you. And so it takes us time. It takes all of us time. So as parents, we just want to keep reminding our kids that you are male, you are female, and that spectrum of what male and female looks like is a wide variety.
Oh, it's a huge spectrum.